Hi everyone. This is a video in English, as you know. This is the purpose of this video is giving you a very good welcome to all of you, and also introducing a couple tips about the practices or attitudes that we suggest for all of you, specifically for those who are joining the first year. This is the first year they're joining this adventure of spiritual and theological mutual accompaniment. My name is Juan Carlos Lapuente, and we can do around like the four of us can share our name.
Sure, I'm Joey, and I live here in Tacoma in Washington.
Thank you, Joey.
My name's Sarah Rosenau, and I live in Portland, Oregon.
And I'm Bosque Iglesias, and I live in Cuernavaca, in Morelos, Mexico.
Yeah, and the four of us, thank you, Bosque, and the four of us are collaborating as organizers to organize the groups and all of that. We are almost 100 participants from several countries, and I'm just curious about asking some questions for Joey, Sarah, and Bosque that might be helpful also to hear from them their responses as a way to suggest tips or attitude practices. So let's start it. How do you get invited, Joey, in this process?
Yeah, so I've been involved in STMA since 2017, I believe. And I first met a few friends, good friends, who were involved in STMA. I met them at a vigil, a Mother's Day vigil at the detention center here in Tacoma. And Ron and Melissa and some others who were involved in STMA, but also Juan Carlos here. Juan Carlos was translating that day. And I heard his voice for the first time then. And I began to just chat with them as friends and to connect with them. And over the next few months, we just saw each other regularly, simply to be friends with each other and to learn about each other's work. We're involved as organizers with faith communities in the Pacific Northwest, to be involved in local issues, housing and immigration. And then one time when Ron and Melissa were sitting at my table sharing a meal, they shared with me their experience the previous year in Mexico City. The second year, I think, of the STMA journey. And they shared the experience of being in deep relationships with people from different parts of the world, different parts of the Americas, involved in the same commitments and wrestling with the same issues. How do we hold on to hope together? How do we stay committed? What do we do when we feel hopeless? Where do we turn when we don't know where to turn? And those questions were questions in my heart, and they're undergirded, underneath them was a theology that is liberating, a theology that finds God in people and in suffering and in hope. And so I felt that I'd found members of my family that had been lost, and they invited me then to say, join us next year on this adventure. And so that I had my first year with a small group of folks from Peru and Mexico and the United States. And I found what I had hoped to find there. And it's been my family since then. Thank
you, Joey. Behind each of us, there's a group of people who have invited us. So that is good that we rely on that trust that people are giving us through their invitation. So we will keep that energy around us. That's important. Thank you, Joey. What do you hear that makes you be interested in STMA, as Joey says, spiritual and theological mutual accompaniment? Bosque.
Well, I was first invited in 2017 by Carlos Mendoza, who's a longtime friend of yours, Juan Carlos. Mm-hmm. And now he's also a longtime friend of us. It was strange. We were working together for a couple of years by then, amidst the really depressing violations of human rights in Mexico. And I was part of a group of students and popular arts folk trying to challenge the tragedy, and there were some priests like Carlos walking with us and trying to find sense amidst all that chaos. And then he told us, well, I am in dialogue with people from different traditions, different contexts, but everyone is struggling with similar challenges. And those challenges connect our convictions or deep instinct about trying to build a different world where peace and justice can really inhabit. And they make a connection between that political struggle and their faith and their way of living their faith. And I thought, well, I might have some resemblance with them, even though I don't belong to any particular tradition, or even though I'm not this very faithful believer. But if there are people making sense and connection in between their spirit and their struggles in the streets, I want to know them, and that's what interested me.
Yeah, thank you, Bosque. We are, in some ways, we are looking for how we ground ourselves in a deeper hope to help us to resist, and we are through mutual accompaniment. We are working, and also we are discerning collectively how we hold wisdom, hope. This is kind of the purpose of all of this. We want to harvest liberating insights among us, even though we are separated by borders, but we are connected in the struggle that we are doing, exploring wisdom from the margins in different ways. So thank you, Bosque. And Sarah, we have many people, like maybe 35 people, like are joining us this year, invited by other compañeros. And what was challenging for you when starting? So maybe that will be helpful also for people who are joining this year as a first time.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it was good to be invited by somebody and to already have some trust formed by knowing that even if I wasn't in a group with my friend or my friends who invited me, I still sort of knew that this was a brave space and a safe space to lean into. But one of the things that I found challenging is that I knew that one of the core principles and practices of STMA was vulnerability. And when I was doing my writing, I was in a very personal, vulnerable place, going through a transition in my primary relationship, going through a divorce. And I struggled with feeling like, is this enough? You know, is this vulnerability enough? Because I'm kind of feeling like a mess, and I'm not. I do activist work and justice work in leading spiritual communities, and I have social justice commitments, but I just have this personal pain, and I just realized that the best thing was just to write from my own experience. That was what was being asked of me. And so I did lean into that and just write with my vulnerability. And I found that it was really helpful. The more vulnerability I put in, the more I got out from the rest of the group. And it actually helped me connect to other people, because people have personal pain as well as the pain of the world. And so and everybody's pain that we're wrestling with and holding for each other brings us to a bigger hope together. So just being honest and real really helped me, but I found it hard to take that leap. So that's something I really encourage for new folks is there's no right way. There's no right thing to say. There's no right experience. It's really actually about being your most authentic self and offering that really helps make the whole group enriched. So
thank you, Sarah. Thank you. This is very, I'm remembering also myself challenging by all these practices, how to do it together. We are 10 groups, and we are almost, as I said, we are almost 100 people from many countries. And each person, each participant will be all of us. There's no teachers. Everybody is doing the same work. We call, well, we are organizing the groups, but we are the same work. We are doing the same work as everybody. And in each group, there are 9 to 10 people. And in each group, there will be a person who we co-facilitating the group, but also participating in the group. So as we said, there's no unbalanced power in the dynamics. Everybody share through writing. And also there will be a person who will be committed to systematize the dialogue, systematize the writings for the purpose of the group. Besides them, you count also in these 4 people who are here as to support facilitators and to support people who are systematizing the dialogues and the writings. So we will be working with you. Each of us will be in different groups, also participating, as we said. Before leaving, it will be good. So we write based on our experiences, and there is no more authority than our experience, and there is no more audience than the chain of trust next to us, next to you, everybody. So let's say this. Before each writing, this is a question for the 3 of us, the 4 of us. Before each writing and virtual group dialogue, each person will receive a question, so people will start writing about that. 50, like a month before. What tips would you offer to a person who is just beginning? So in the mid of June, we will be sending instructions and all of that. What tips would you offer to a person who is just beginning? Who wants to respond? Just raise your hand, start it, please. Bosque, Joy, you are muted.
One thing that came to my mind, I was there for a moment, I'm sorry. One thing that came to my mind is that I quickly felt the trust in my group, but it took the first meeting to feel that trust. And it was very hard to go into the first meeting feeling like I'm ready to be totally vulnerable and open. But it was very important because there's only 3 or 4 conversations to quickly be able to say, I know I can trust my group. I know I can feel this is a safe and a courageous space. And so the tip I would offer is to be brave and to maybe take some risks in yourself, in what you're willing to share, and even what you're willing to reflect on yourself as you prepare for the group.
Thank you, Joy. As we said, we will be writing about our commitments in our work, but at the same time, what is happening inside of our heart when we are working in those arenas with people we love, and they are people who we love are suffering as we are. So what other tips, Bosque, Sarah, would you offer to a person who's just beginning?
I think that when you're first writing, there's really no one way to do it, and there's no right way to do it. Some people write poetry, some people write a story. I think just as long as it feels really authentic to you and like you're really being expressive and creative, I think that the writing that's where people's personhood really comes through are the most help to further the relationships. So there's lots of questions, but you don't always have to answer. It's not like an interview, you know, you don't just have to answer each question. You can just consider them as kind of a palette that you're going to paint with. And you might not use every color or cover every question, but it's going to evoke a way for you to communicate like where you are and who you are.
Thank you, Sarah. Bosque, how about you? What would you offer as a tip?
Well, I think I agree both with Joey and with Sarah. There's a need to embrace boldness. You have to be brave, and you don't have to be frightened about being wrong, because there's no right way or wrong way of doing this. You're sharing, and I think it's important also to look at this as an opportunity to make a space for your inner voice that hasn't been heard in other spaces where maybe you have to put masks on and be who everyone expects you to be. And this new space, this space is a space of trust. Oh my, there's some coughing by granddad in here.
The grandpa.
But well, I mean, there's no one expecting anything from you but your inner truth. So if you can listen to your inner voice and express what you haven't been allowed to express in other spaces, there might be a guide, an intuition you can follow.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And something I would suggest is that once you receive the instructions for the writing, hold in your calendar a space for doing that. Do not wait until the 2 days before the meeting, because we will be uploading the writing so everybody can share and read before the meeting our writings. So that will be a good recommendation. Hold in your calendar once you receive it. I'm going to work on this, and we suggest 2 hours working in your writing. It will be fine. Will be only 2 pages. Well, we are almost for creating the WhatsApp groups, and besides the email that you will receive, including this video. And if you have any trouble, we are available in your WhatsApp group as well as your co-facilitators. So that's it.
Reach out to us.
Yes, Sarah.
Oh, I was just going to say, reach out to us, and we want to be walking with you in this, and we're all walking together. So we're excited. We're excited to begin.
Yeah, such a blessing being friends and companions, people who are struggling in very difficult contexts, all of us. But we will be supporting one another to hold hope and find wisdom that can help us to keep resisting and sharing care resistance with people we love. Okay, thank you, Joy. Thank you, Bosque. Thank you, Sarah. Welcome, everybody. I hope this video is helpful. Bye-bye.